This is Our Football with Coach Chris Ash. Coach, you talked to your club on Sunday after the game against Michigan. What was the overall message?
Similar to last Saturday after the Ohio State one, we got to learn from the game and what we did good, what we did bad in the game, but we got to put it behind us. We're ready to start a new season. The first 6 games, we're at the halfway point. First 6 games, we played some really tough opponents. We're going to play some really good opponents in the second half, but I think the gap between where we're at and where some of these other teams are is a lot smaller, and we have an opportunity to go out and play some really good football here the rest of the season.
So does it begin with the offensive line, both with trying to run the football and protecting the quarterback?
Yeah, every game that you're in, regardless of the level, it starts with your offensive line's ability to get the offense going. Can you run the ball the way you want to be able to run the ball? Can you protect the quarterback so he has time to throw the ball? We have struggled in those 2 areas in the last 2 weeks, and we have to get back on track. Against Iowa, I thought we did an outstanding job, with our offensive line being able to run the ball and give the quarterback time to throw it. Did not do that the last 2 games, and the offensive production is what it is. It's not very good.
How challenging has this been to take on 4 football teams who are among the elite in the nation?
It's a challenge, but we're going to face that every year. We're going to play Ohio State and Michigan every single year. From the Western Division, we're going to play, probably Iowa, Nebraska, or Wisconsin every year. They're traditionally great football teams, too. So that's the Big Ten. That's the league we're in, and we embrace that. That's why we're here. That's why the players came here. We want to play that type of a schedule. Now we got to continue to coach, develop, and recruit the players that we need to do it.
What's the attitude of the players right now?
Attitude's great. That's never wavered. Anytime you go through a loss as a coach, as a player, support staff, you're shaken, and it takes a little bit of time to get your mind right and get back to being focused on what you need to focus on for the next week. And I thought yesterday we did that. We got it out of our system. The players had a tremendous attitude as we were watching the film. Not happy with what they saw, but I think their focus is on moving on to the second half of the season and getting ready for Illinois.
You've talked about the process. You've also talked about patience. But sometimes it's not easy to be patient. What do you tell your guys in that regard?
Well, we've been talking about that for a long time. Just because we're here doesn't mean all of a sudden everything changes overnight. It's a process, like you mentioned. We've got to continue to coach, develop. We put in new offenses, defenses, special teams. So we're still learning a lot of that. We're going through some injuries right now. None of it's an excuse. It's just reality. It is what it is. Our players get it, but our coaching staff gets it too. It doesn't make it any easier because we're all here to do one thing. That's to eventually have the opportunity to win games. And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks, it's looked ugly.
You've talked about patience with your players. What about with the fans? What's your message to diehard Rutgers fans right now?
Well, I've said this since I've gotten here. I've said this continually to our players, and I say it to fans. We're here to build a program, not just a team. A team is something that, you have one good year and it's a flash in the pan and that's it. We want to build a program that sustains success. We want to build a program that's big, fast, physical program that can compete with anybody in the country. That's what we want. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get there. I don't know when we'll get there. I don't have a timetable on that. Didn't say we couldn't get there this year. Didn't say it's going to be 5 years down the road. But we have a plan, we have a process, and we'll get there. It'll be a place, in my opinion, at some point, recruits want to come here. Fans want to be here, and not many opposing football teams want to play us. That's the vision. That's what we want to build.
And you had a lot of recruits here the other night, so you want them to embrace the program, to see the program under the lights or in any situation.
Yeah, recruiting is going well still, and I'll be honest with you, I don't feel any negative impact yet from what's happened the last 2 weeks. We've built great relationships with the guys that have been committed to us and the guys that we continue to recruit. They know what's going on here inside the building. They like what they see. They like how they're being developed, how they're being coached, and what they're getting exposed to here. And that's not going to change. We need our players here to continue to get developed, and we need new recruits to come to help us continue to build depth and competition at each spot.
Bottom line, you always have another game the next week, and you've got one this week against Illinois, so it's right back to work, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the best thing about football. You have a bad day, what do you got to do? You got to turn the page and get ready for the next one, because there's no dead time, there's no off time to sit and have a pity party and think about it. We're on to the next one.
The Scarlet Knights host the Fighting Illini this Saturday at High Point Solution Stadium. We'll talk about the matchup later in the show as Our Football with Chris Ash rolls on.